Hello, I am Muhammad Saud Arif. I am the project management trainer. I will be audio recording the complete PMBOK 6th edition for all you guys so that it can benefit all. The contents of this PMBOK 6th edition is as follows. Number 1, introduction. Number 2, the environment in which projects operate. Number 3, role of a project manager. Number 4, project integration management. Number 5, project scope management. Number 6, project schedule management. Number 7, project cost management. Number 8, project quality management. Number 9, project resource management. Number 10, project communication management. Number 11, project risk management. Number 12, project procurement management. Number 13, project stakeholder management. Now let's get started from the chapter 1 introduction part. Overview and purpose of this guide. Project management is not new. It has been in use for hundreds of years. Examples of project outcomes include pyramids of Giza, Olympic Games, Great Wall of China, Taj Mahal, publications of children's book, Panama Canal, development of commercial jet airplanes, polio vaccine, human beings landing on the moon, commercial software applications, portable devices to use the global positioning system, and placement of the International Space Station into Earth's orbit. The outcome of these projects were the result of leaders and managers applying project management practices, principles, processes, tools, and techniques to their work. The manager of these projects used a set of key skills and applied knowledge to satisfy their customers and other people involved in and affected by the project. By the mid 20th century, project managers began the work of seeking recognition for project management as a profession. One aspect of the work involved obtaining agreement on the content of the body of knowledge called project management. The BOK became known as the Project Management Body of Knowledge. The Project Management Institute PMI produced a baseline of charts and glossaries for the PMBOK. Project managers soon realized that no single book can contain the entire PMBOK. Therefore, PMI developed and published a guide to the project management body of knowledge. PMBOK defines the project management body of knowledge as a term that describes the knowledge within the profession of project management. The project management body of knowledge includes proven traditional practices that are widely applied as well as innovative practices that are emerging in the profession. The body of knowledge includes both published and unpublished materials. This body of knowledge is constantly evolving. This PMBOK guide identifies a subset of the project management body of knowledge that is generally recognized as good practice. Generally recognized means the knowledge and practices described are applicable to most projects most of the time, and there is consensus about their value and usefulness. Good practice means there is general agreement that the application of the knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project management processes can enhance the chances of success over many projects in delivering the expected business value and results. The project manager works with the project team and other stakeholders to determine and use the appropriate, generally recognized good practices for each project. Determining the appropriate combination of processes, inputs, tools, and techniques, outputs, and life cycle phases to manage a project is referred to as tailoring the application of the knowledge described in this guide. PMBOK guide is different from a methodology. A methodology is a system of practices, techniques, procedures, and rules used by those who work in a discipline. This PMBOK guide is a foundation upon which organizations can build methodologies, policies, procedures, rules, tools, and techniques, and life cycle phases needed to practice project management. The standard for project management. This guide is based on the standard for project management. A standard is a document established by an authority, custom, or general consent as a model or example. As an American National Standards Institute, the standard for project management was developed using a process based on the concepts of consensus, openness, due process, and balance. The standard for project management is a foundational reference for PMI, project management, professional and development programs, and the practice of project management. Because project management needs to be tailored to fit the needs of the project, the standards and the guide are both based on descriptive practices rather than prescriptive practices. Therefore, the standard identifies the processes that are considered good practices on most projects most of the time. The standards also identifies the inputs and outputs that are usually associated with those processes. The standard does not require that any particular processes or practice be performed. The standard for project management is included as part 2, a guide to the project management body of knowledge, PMBOK guide. The PMBOK guide provides more detail about key concepts, emerging trends, considerations for tailoring the project management processes, and information on how tools and techniques are applied to projects. The project managers may use one or more methodologies to implement the project management processes outlined in the standard. The scope of this guide is limited to the discipline of project management rather than the full spectrum of portfolios, programs, and projects. Portfolio and programs will be addressed only to the degree they interact with projects. PMI publishes 2 other standards that addresses the management of portfolio and programs. Number 1, the standard for portfolio management. Number 2, the standard for program management. Common vocabulary. A common vocabulary is an essential element of a professional discipline. The PMI lexicon of project management terms provides the foundational professional vocabulary that can be constantly used by the organization's portfolio, program, and project managers and other project stakeholders. The lexicon will continue to evolve over time. The glossary to this guide includes the vocabulary in the lexicon along with additional definitions. There may be other industry specific terms used in projects that are defined by that industry literature. Code of ethics and professional conduct. PMI publishes the Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct to instill confidence in the project management profession and to help an individual in making wise decisions, particularly when faced with difficult situations where the individual may be asked to compromise his or her integrity or values. The values that the global project management community defined as the most important were the responsibility, respect, fairness, and honesty. The Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct affirms these four values as its foundation. The Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct includes both aspirational standards and mandatory standards. The aspirational standards describe the conduct that practitioners who are also PMI members, certification holders, or volunteers strive to uphold. Although adherence to the aspirational standards is not easily measured, conduct in accordance with these is an exception for those who consider themselves to be professionals. It is not optional. The mandatory standards establish firm requirements and in some cases limit or prohibit practitioner behavior. Practitioners who are also PMI members, certification holders, or volunteers who do not conduct themselves in accordance with these standards will be subject to disciplinary procedures before PMI Ethics Review Committee. Foundational elements. This section describes foundational elements necessary for working in and understanding the discipline of project management. Projects. A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Projects are undertaken to fulfill objectives by producing deliverables. An objective is defined as an outcome toward which work is to be directed, a strategic position to be attained, a purpose to be achieved, a result to be obtained, a product to be produced, or a service to be performed. A deliverable is defined as any unique and verifiable product, result, or capability to perform a service that is required to be produced to complete a process, phase, or project. Deliverables may be tangible or intangible. Fulfillment of project objectives may produce one or more of the following deliverables: a unique product that can be either a component of another item, an enhancement or correction of an item, or a new and item in itself. Example, the correction of a defect in an end term. A unique service or a capability to perform a service. Example, a business function that supports production or distribution. A unique result such as an outcome or document. Example, a research project that develops knowledge that can be used to determine whether a trend exists or a new process will benefit society. A unique combination of one or more products, services, or results. Example, software application, its associated documentation, and help desk services. Repetitive elements may be present in some project deliverables and activities. This repetition does not change the fundamental and unique characteristics of the project work. For example, office buildings can be constructed with the same or similar materials and by the same or different teams. However, each building project remains unique in characteristics. Example, location, design, environment, situation, and the people involved. Projects are undertaken at all organization levels. Project can involve a single individual or a group. A project can involve a single organizational unit or multiple organization units from multiple organization. Examples of project includes but are not limited to developing a new pharmaceutical compound for market, expanding a tour guide service, merging two organizations, improving a business process within an organization, acquiring and installing a new computer hardware system for use in an organization, expo- exploring for oil in a region, modifying a computer software program used in an organization, conducting research to develop a new manufacturing process, and constructing a building. The temporary nature of the project indicates that the project has definite beginning and end. Temporary does not necessarily means a project has a short duration. The end of the project is reached when one or more of the following is true. The project objectives have been achieved. The objectives will not or cannot be met. Funding is exhausted or no longer available for allocation to the project. The need for the project no longer exists. Example, the customer no longer wants the project completed. A change in strategy or priority ends the project. The organizational management provides direction to end the project. The human or physical resources are no longer available. The project is terminated for legal cause or convenience. Projects are temporary, but their deliverables may exist beyond the end of the project. Projects may produce deliverables of a social, economic, material, or environmental nature. For example, a project to build a national monument will create a deliverable expected to last for centuries. Projects drive change. Projects drive change in organizations. From a business perspective, a project is aimed at moving an organization from one state to another state in order to achieve a specific objective. Before the project begins, the organization is commonly referred to as being in the current state. The desired result of the change driven by the project is described as the future state. For some projects, this may involve creating a transition state where multiple steps are made along a continuum to achieve the future state. The successful completion of a project results in the organization moving to the future state and achieving the specific objective. Projects enable business value creation. PMI defines business value as the net quantifiable benefit derived from a business endeavor. The benefit may be tangible, intangible, or both. In business analysis, business value is considered the return in the form of elements such as time, money, goods, or intangible in return for something exchanged. Business value in projects referred to as the benefit that the results of a specific project provide to its stakeholder. The benefits from project may be tangible, intangible, or both. Example of tangible element includes monetary assets, stockholder equity, utility, fixtures, tools, and market share. Examples of intangible element includes goodwill, brand recognition, public benefit, trademarks, strategic alignment, and reputation. Project initiation context. Organizational leaders initiate projects in response to factors acting upon their organizations. There are four fundamental categories for these factors which illustrate the context of a project. Number 1, meet the regulatory, legal, or social requirements. Number 2, satisfy stakeholder requests or needs. Number 3, implement or change business or technological strategies. Number 4, create, improve, or fix product, processes, or services. These factors influence an organization's ongoing operation and business strategies. Leader responds to these factors in order to keep the organizations viable. Projects provide the means for organization to be successfully make the changes necessary to deal with these factors. These factors ultimately should link to the strategic objectives of the organization and business value of each project. The importance of project management. Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. Project management is accomplished through the appropriate application and integration of the project management processes identified for the project. Project management enables organization to execute projects effectively and efficiently. Effective project management helps individual, groups, and public and private organizations to meet business objectives, satisfy stakeholder expectations, be more predictable, increase chances of success, deliver the right products at the right time, resolve problems and issues, respond to risks in a timely manner, optimize the use of organizational resources, identify, recover, or terminate failing projects, manage constraints, balance the influence of constraints, manage change in a better manner. Poorly managed projects or the absence of project management may result in missed deadlines. Number 2, cost overruns. Number 3, poor quality. Number 4, rework. Number 5, uncontrolled expansion of the project. Number 6, loss of reputation. Number 7, unsatisfied stakeholders. Number 8, failure in achieving the objectives for which the project was undertaken. Projects are a key way to create value and benefits in organization. In today's business environment, organizational leaders need to be able to manage with tighter budgets, shorter timelines, scarcity of resources, and rapidly changing technology. The business environment is dynamic with an accelerating rate of change. To remain competitive in the world economy, companies are embracing project management to constantly deliver business value. Effective and efficient project management should be considered a strategic competency within organizations. It enables organizations to tie project results to business goals, compete more effectively in their markets, sustain the organizations, respond to the impact of business environment changes on projects by appropriately adjusting project management plans. Relationship of project, program, portfolio, and operations management. Using project management processes, tools, and techniques puts in place a sound foundation for organization to achieve their goals and objectives. A project may be managed in 3 separate scenarios: as a standalone project, outside of a portfolio program, within a program, or within a portfolio. Project managers interact with portfolio and program managers when a project is within a program or portfolio. For example, multiple projects may be needed to accomplish a set of goals and objectives for an organization. In those situations, project may be grouped together into a program. A program is defined as a group of related projects, subsidiary programs, and program activities managed in a coordinated manner to obtain benefits not available from managing them individually. Programs are not large projects. A very large project may be referred to as mega project. As a guideline, mega project cost 1 billion US dollars or more, affect 1 million or more people, and run for years. Some organizations may employ the use of project portfolio to effectively manage multiple programs and projects that are underway at a given time. A portfolio is defined as projects, programs, and subsidiary portfolio, and operations managed as a group to achieve strategic objectives. Program management and portfolio management differ from project management in their life cycles, activities, objectives, focus, and benefits. However, portfolios, programs, projects, and operation often engage with the same stakeholders and may need to use the same resources, which may result in a conflict in the organization. This type of situation increases the need for coordination within the organization through the use of portfolio, program, and project management to achieve a workable balance in the organization. The portfolio components are grouped together in order to facilitate the effective governance and management of the work that helps to achieve organizational strategies and priorities. Organizational and portfolio planning impact the component by means of prioritization based on risk, funding, and other considerations. The portfolio view allows organization to see how the strategic goals are reflected in the portfolio. Program management. Program management is defined as the application of knowledge, skills, and principles to a program to achieve the program objectives and to obtain benefits and control not available by managing program components individually. A program component refers to projects and other programs within a program. Project management focuses on interdependencies within a project to determine the optimal approach for managing the project. Program management focuses on the interdependencies between projects and between projects and a program level to determine the optimal approach for managing them. Action related to these programs and project level interdependencies may include aligning with organizational or strategic direction that affects program and project goals and objectives, allocating the program scope into program components, managing interdependencies among the components of the program to best serve the program, managing program risks that may impact multiple projects in the program, resolving constraints and conflicts that affect multiple projects within the program, resolving issues between component projects and the program level, managing change requests within a shared governance framework, allocating budgets across multiple projects within the program, and assuring benefits realization from the program and the component projects. An example of a program is a new communication satellite system with projects for the design and construction of a satellite and the ground station, the launch of the satellite, and the integration of the system. Portfolio management. Portfolio is defined as projects, programs, subsidiary portfolios, and operations managed as a group to achieve strategic objectives. Portfolio management is defined as the centralized management of one or more portfolios to achieve strategic objectives. The program or project of the portfolio may not necessarily be interdependent or directly related. The aim of portfolio management is guide organizational investment decisions, select the optimal mix of programs and projects to meet these strategic objectives, provide decision-making transparency, prioritize team and physical resource allocation, increase the likelihood of realizing the desired return on investment, centralize the management of the aggregate risk profile of all the components. Portfolio management also confirms that the portfolio is consistent with and aligned with the organizational strategies. Maximizing the value of the portfolio requires careful examination of the components that comprise the portfolio. Components are prioritized so that these contributing the most to the organization's strategic objectives have the required financial, team, and physical resources. For example, an infrastructure organization that has the strategic objective of maximizing the return on its investment may put together a portfolio that includes a mix of projects in oil and gas, power, water, roads, rail, and airports. From this mix, the organization may choose to manage related projects as one portfolio. All of the above, all of the power projects may be grouped together as a power portfolio. Similarly, all of the water projects may be grouped together as a water portfolio. However, when the organization has projects in designing and constructing a power plant and then operates the power plant to generate energy, those related projects can be grouped in a one program. Thus, the power program and similar water program become integral components of the portfolio of the infrastructure organization. Operations management. Operations management is an area that is outside the scope of the formal project management. Operations management is considered with the ongoing production of goods and services. It ensures that the business operations continually affect by using the optimal resources needed to meet customer demands. It is concerned with the managing processes that transforms input, example, materials, components, energy and labor into output, example, product, goods or services. Changes in business or organizational operations may be the focus of a project, especially when there are substantial changes to business operations as a result of a new product or service or delivery. Ongoing operations are outside of the scope of the project. However, they are intersecting points where their two areas cross. Projects can intersect with operations at a various point during the product life cycle, such as when developing a new product, upgrading a product, or expanding outputs, while improving operations or the product development process at the end of the product life cycle at each closeout phase. At, at each point, deliverables and knowledge are transferred between the project and operations for implementation of the delivered work. This implementation occurs through a transfer of project resources or knowledge to operations or through a transfer of operations resources to the project. Within portfolio programs, projects are a means of achieving organizational goals and objectives. This is often accomplished in the context of a strategic plan that is the primary factor guiding investments in projects. Alignment with the organization's strategic business goals can be achieved through the systematic management of portfolios, programs, and projects through the application of organizational project management (OPM). OPM is defined as a framework in which portfolio, program, and project management are integrated with organizational enablers in order to achieve strategic objectives. The purpose of OPM is to ensure that the organization undertakes the right projects and allocate critical resources appropriately. OPM also helps to ensure that all the levels of the organization understand the strategic vision, the initiatives, the support the vision, the objectives, and the deliverables. Components of the guide. Projects comprise several key components that, when effectively managed, result in their successful completion. This guide identifies and explains these components. The various components interrelate to one another during the management of a project. The key components are more explained in these sections. Project and development life cycle. A project life cycle is the series of phases that a project passes through from its start to its completion. It provides the basic framework for managing the project. The basic framework applies regardless of the specific project work involved. The phases may be sequential, iterative, or overlapping. All the projects can be mapped to the generic life cycles. Project life cycle can be predictive or adaptive. Within a project lifecycle, there are generally one or more phases that are associated with the development of the product, service, or result. These are called a development life cycle. Developmental life cycles can be predictive, iterative, incremental, adaptive, or a hybrid model. In predictive life cycle, the project scope, time, cost are determined in the early phases of the life cycle. Any changes to the scope are carefully managed. Predictive life cycles may also be referred to as waterfall life cycles. In an iterative life cycle, the project scope is generally determined early in the project life cycle, but time and cost estimates are routinely modified as the project team understanding of the product increases. Iterations develop the product through a series of repeated cycles, while the increments successfully add to the functionality of the product. In an incremental life cycle, the deliverable is produced through a series of iterations that successfully add functionality within a predetermined time frame. The deliverable contains the necessary and sufficient capability to be considered complete only after the final iteration. Adaptive life cycles are agile, iterative, or incremental. The detailed scope is defined and approved before the start of an iteration. Adaptive life cycles are also referred to as agile or change driven life cycles. A hybrid life cycle is a combination of predictive and adaptive life cycle. Those elements of the project that are well known or have fixed requirements follow a predictive development life cycle, and those elements that are still evolving following an adaptive development life cycle. It is up to the project management team to determine the best life cycle for each project. The project life cycle needs to be flexible enough to deal with the variety of factors included in the project. Life cycle flexibility may be accomplished by identifying the process or processes need to be performed in each phase, performing the process or processes identified in the appropriate phase, adjusting the various attributes of a phase, example name, duration, exact criteria, and tenants criteria. Project life cycles are independent of our product life cycles, which may be produced by a project. A product life cycle is a series of phases that represent the evolution of a product from concept through delivery, growth, maturity, and to retirement. Project phase. A project phase is a collection of logically related project activities that culminates in the completion of one or more deliverables. The phases in the life cycle can be described by a variety of attributes. Attributes may be measurable and unique to specific phases. Attributes may include but are not limited to name, number, duration, resource requirements, entrance criteria, exit criteria. Projects may be separated into distinct phases or subcomponents. These phases or subcomponents are generally given names that indicate the type of work done in that phase. Example of phase name includes but are not limited to concept development, feasibility study, customer requirements, solution development, design, prototype, build, test, transition, commissioning, milestone review, and lessons learned. The project phase may be established based on various factors, including but not limited to management needs, nature of the project, unique characteristics of the organization, project element, including but not limited to technology, engineering, business process, or legal. Using multiple phases may provide better insight to managing the project. It also provides an opportunity to assess the performance and take necessary corrective and preventive actions in the subsequent phases. A key component used with the project phases is the phase review. A phase gate is held at the end of a phase. The project performance and progresses are compared to project and business documents, including but not limited to project business case, project charter, project management plan, benefits management plan. A decision, example go no go decision, is made as a result of this comparison to continue to the next phase, continue to the next phase with modification, and the project, remain in the phase or repeat the phase or elements in it. Depending on the organization, industry, or type of work, phase gates may be referred to by other terms such as phase review, stage gate, kill point, and phase entrance or phase exit. Organization may use these reviews to examine other pertinent items which are beyond the scope of this guide, such as product related documents or models. Project management processes. A project lifecycle is managed by executing a series of project management activities known as project management processes. Every project management processes produces one or more outputs from one or more inputs by using appropriate project management tools and techniques. These outputs can be deliverable or an outcome. Outcome are an end result of a process. Project management processes apply globally across industries. Project management processes are logically linked by the outputs they produce. Processes may contain overlapping activities that occur throughout the project. The output of one process generally results in either input to another process, a deliverable of the project, or project phase. The number of process iterations and interactions between processes varies based on the needs of the project. Processes generally fall into one of these three categories: processes used once or at predefined points in the project, processes that are performed periodically as needed, processes that are performed continuously throughout the project. Project management process groups. A project management process group is a logical grouping of project management processes to achieve specific project objectives. Process groups are independent of project phases. Project management processes are grouped into the following 5 project management process groups. Number 1, initiating process groups. Those processes performed to define a new project or a new phase of an existing project by obtaining authorization to start the project or phase. Planning process group. Those processes required to establish the scope of the project, refine the objectives, and define the course of action required to attain the objectives that the project was undertaken to achieve. Executing process groups. Those processes performed to complete the work defined in the project management plan to satisfy the project requirements. Monitoring and controlling process groups. Those processes required to track, review, and regulate the progress and performance of the project, identify any areas in which changes to the plan are required, and intimate the corresponding changes. Closing process groups. Those processes performed to formally complete or close the project, phase, or a contract. Project management knowledge areas. In addition to process groups, processes are also categorized by knowledge areas. A knowledge area is an identified area of the project management defined by its knowledge requirements and described in terms of components, processes, practice, inputs, output, tools, and techniques. Although the knowledge areas are interrelated, they are defined separated from the project management perspective. The 10 knowledge areas identified in this guide are used in most projects. Most of the time, the 10 knowledge areas described in the guide are: number 1, project integration management. Includes the processes and activities to identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate the various processes and project management activities within the project management and process groups. Project scope management includes the processes required to ensure the project includes all the work required and only the work required to complete the project successfully. Project schedule management include all the processes required to manage the timely completion of the project. Project cost management include the processes involved in planning, estimating, budgeting, financing, funding, managing, and controlling cost so the project can be completed within the approved budget. Project quality management include the processes for incorporating the organization's quality policy regarding planning, managing, and controlling project and product quality requirements in order to meet stakeholder expectations. Project resource management include the processes to identify, acquire and manage the resources needed for the successful completion of the project. Project communication management included the processes required to ensure timely and appropriate planning, collecting, creation, distribution, and storage, retrieval management, control, monitoring, and ultimate disposition of project information. Project risk management includes the processes of conducting risk management, planning, identification, analysis, response planning, response implementation, and monitoring risk on a project. Project procurement management includes the processes necessary to purchase or acquire product, services, or results needed from outside the project team. Project stakeholder management includes the processes required to identify the people, groups, organization that could impact or be impacted by the project, to analyze stakeholder expectations and their impact on the project, and to develop appropriate management strategies for effectively engaging stakeholder in project decisions and executions. Project management data and information. Throughout the life cycle of a project, a significant amount of data is collected, analyzed, and transformed. Project data are collected as a result of various processes and are shared within the project team. The collected data are analyzed in context, aggregated, and transformed to become project information. During various processes, project data are regularly collected and analyzed throughout the project lifecycle. The following definitions identify key terminology regarding project data information. Number 1, work performance data. Raw observations and measurements identified during activities performed to carry out the project work. Example include reported percentage of work physically completed, quality and technical performance measures, start and finish dates of scheduled activities, number of change requests, number of defects, actual cost, actual durations. Work performance information. The performance data collected from various controlling processes, analyzed in context and integrated based on interrelationships across areas. Example of performance information are status of deliverables, implementation status for change request, and forecast estimates to complete. Work performance reports. The physical or electronic representation of work performance information compiled in project documents, which is intended to generate decisions or raise issues, actions, or awareness. Example include status reports, memos, justification, electronic dashboards, recommendation, and updates. Tailoring. Usually, project manager apply a project management methodology in their work. A methodology is a system of practices, techniques, procedures, and rules used by those who work in a discipline. The guide and the standard management are recommended references for tailoring because these standard documents identify the subset of the project management body of knowledge that is generally recognized as good practice. Good practice does not mean that the knowledge described should always be applied uniformly to all projects. Specific methodology recommendations are outside the scope of this guide. Project management methodology may be developed by experts within the organization, purchased from vendors, obtained from professional associations, or acquired from government agencies. Project management business documents. The project manager needs to ensure that the project management approach captures the intent of business documents. These documents are defined. These are two documents that are interdependent and iteratively developed and maintained throughout the life cycle of the project. Number 1, project business case. A documented economic feasibility study used to establish the validity of the benefits of a selected component lacking sufficient definition that is used as a basis for the authorization of further project management activities. Project benefits management plan. The document explanation defining the processes for creating, maximizing, and sustaining the benefits provided by a project. Project business case. A project business case is a documented economic feasibility study used to establish the validity of the benefits of a selected component lacking sufficient definition that is used as a basis for authorization of further project. The business case lists the objectives and reasons for Project initiation. It helps measure the project success at the end of the project against the project objectives. The business case is a project business document that is used throughout the project life cycle. The business case may be used before the project initiation and may result in a go or no go decision for the project.